my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my September TBR. Now, disclaimer, this is a really long TBR, and I'm gonna kind of speed through the things that are series continuations, more so now than ever, because this month I will be participating in a readathon. That is not my own readathon. This is the second time this year that I'm doing this. What do I win? Nothing. It's literally my friend's readathon, and they give me the prompts in time so that I could plan more effectively. Anyway, I'm going to be doing Sapphic September this month. I've never participated in Sapphic September. I did participate in Sapphic Spring earlier this year and had a lot of fun doing that. It was fun doing somebody else's readathon. And it was fun to try and see how many books that I have on this very big list of like series I want to finish on my big master TBR list. It was fun to see how many I could fit into these prompts specifically. Spoiler alert, it was not as many as I was hoping for, so inevitably this is a large TBR because I wanted to make sure that I could get some of those prompts or some of those books completed while also reading for the readathon. So I'm going to start by telling you my series continuations. Those are pretty cut and dry, pretty to the point, and these are the ones that have nothing to do with Sapphic September. Some series continuations are in Sapphic September, yada yada yada, whatever. First up, I will be reading Imaginary Numbers by Shauna Maguire. This is the 8th book in the Encrypted series. It would be silly for me to give you a summary of this because it is the 8th book in like a 13-book series. Like, we're halfway through, besties. If I gave you a summary, it would be a spoiler, right? At this point. Next is Alcatraz vs. the Shattered Lens by Brandon Sanderson. This is the Alcatraz vs. the Evil Librarians series, and this is book 4. Alcatraz has discovered some things about himself and about his family, and about the knights specifically that work with his family or for his family that he did not know about prior and did not expect, and so this book is just going to be a continuation of that story. The next two books are WITC Volume 4 and Volume 5. I watched this show as a kid and enjoyed it a lot, and I apparently picked up the manga or the anime or the comics or whatever, the graphic novels, quite some time ago, and then simply never read them again. And they were on Comixology, which I no longer have, so I am finding at the library to read them, and yep, I'm going to continue reading them. They're about these teenage girls that find out that they're witches, and I have very loose memories of the show, so that's fun. Now on to Sapphic September. I try to put these in order of the prompts themselves. I will also try to include links to Sapphic September in the description box down below. You know that I have a hard time doing that sometimes, but I will definitely try. Also, sorry about him. I film and he says, no, it's time for me to be the star. Okay. Alright, let's talk about Sapphic September. So first prompt for Sapphic September is a BIPOC author, which is a Black, Indigenous, or person of color author, and I have chosen Bestiary by Kaiming Chang. I have read a book by Kaiming Chang before and did not love it, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I am going to read it nevertheless. 3 generations of Taiwanese American women are haunted by the myths of their homeland in this spellbinding, visceral debut about one family's queer desires, violent impulses, and buried secrets. It seems interesting. It's been on my TBR for quite some time, so I was able to like add it to this list very happily and do that. Next up, we have sword-wielding Sapphics, and I will be reading Seawolf by Anna Burke. I'm going to be super honest here. First off, this is a series continuation. It's the second book after Compass Rose, which I read for my I Support Women's Wrongs reading recommendations for my friends video. I'm going to be super transparent. I do not know if swords are in here. I don't remember, but it is a future pirate book. So they might not have swords, but they might have swords. I don't know. But this is about Miranda Stillwater and Rose, who is basically a compass of a person. She can always point you in the right direction. They do pirate things in the future. Read the first book if you want to know more information about it. It's good. I enjoyed it, I guess. So I say I guess, and that sounds like I didn't enjoy it. I was relatively neutral about it, but I didn't hate it, which to me inherently means that I enjoyed it. Because if I am not getting any kind of joy out of something, I will not continue to read it. Like, I just simply won't read it. Next up, we have less than 1,000 Goodreads ratings, which is The Cage of Dark Hours by Marina J. Lossetter. Caitlin Starling recommended these books to me, I believe. I read the first one ages and ages ago, and it is magical in the future. There's serial killers, it's a whole thing. The Cage of Dark Hours is the second book in the trilogy, where the defeat of a serial killer back from the dead has pulled the mask off the myths and magics of the fantastical city. This book does not have very many reviews on Goodreads, so I was like very pleased that I was able to find a solution to that prompt because I was a little stressed out about it. After that, we have indie or small press author, and that is going to be Never Have I Ever by Isabel Yap. This one is something that somebody recommended to me because it is a set of horror short stories by one author, because I have talked about how I like short story collections, but I would prefer that they're by one author because then the writing style is more consistent and it's much easier to review. This is by one author. Spells and Stories, Urban Legends, and Immigrant Tales, the magic in Isabel Yap's debut collection jumps right off the page. From the joy in her novella, A Spell for Foolish Hearts, to the terrifying tension of the urban legend, have you heard the one about Ana Maria Marquez? So I'm excited about this one, and I did confirm it is a small press publication. Next up, we have Magical Sapphics, and I'm very excited to read A Magical Girl Retires by Park Seolian. I will own that this says that it is queer, but does not explicitly state that it is sapphic, so I don't hold me to this one, right? If I have read it by the time this video goes up, because this video should go up like the second week of September, then I'll try to remember to put in the description box below whether or not it was sapphic. But look at the cover. 29, depressed and drowning in credit card debt. Familiar. After losing her job during the pandemic, a millennial woman decides to end her troubles by jumping off Seoul's Mapo Bridge. But her attempt is interrupted by a girl dressed in all white, her guardian angel. Aurao is a clairvoyant magical girl on a mission to find the greatest magical girl of all time, and our protagonist just may be that special someone. But the young woman's initial excitement turns to frustration when she learns that being a magical girl in real life is much different than how it's portrayed in the stories. It isn't just destiny, it's work. Magical girls go to job fairs, join trade unions, attend classes, and for this magical girl, there are no special powers, no great perks, and despite being magical, she still battles with low self-esteem. Her magic wand is a credit card, which she must use to defeat a terrifying threat that isn't a monster or an intergalactic war. It's global climate change, because magical girls need to think about sustainability too. It feels so silly, and I want to read it, so here we are. Next up, we have Disaster Sapphics, and I will be reading Whisper Me a Love Song, Volume 3. This is a series continuation, obviously, noted by the fact that it is Volume 3. Also, for the quick read prompt, I will be reading Whisper Me a Love Song, Volume 4. These books are about these two girls, one of which is like, I'm in love with you, and the other one that's like, no, I'm in love with you, and then the younger one is like, wait, no, I just meant like, I think that you're amazing. And the other one's like, but I meant like, can we date? So that's fun. It's just interesting to see the dynamic. I know there's an anime about it, and I have not seen it because it's on High Dive, and I don't have High Dive, but they are disastrous, it is true. Next up, for 2024 release, and also for new to you author, I don't normally combine prompts like this, but I needed to for this one specifically. I will be reading Oye by Melissa Mogollon. This was one of the books that I got from the Random House queer books that I got at Pride Month. Thank you again to Random House for that. I do love the book. This is a coming-of-age comedy, a telenovela-worthy drama, a moving family saga, all in a phone call you won't want to hang up on. Structured as a series of one-sided phone calls from our fiery, sarcastic narrator, Luciana, to her older sister, Mari, this wildly inventive debut jumpstarts your heart in the same way Oye piques your ear. I don't know why I kept calling it Oye. I know that it's Oye. Anyway, good grief. As the baby of her large Colombian-American family, Luciana is usually relegated to the sidelines, but now she finds herself as the only voice of reason in the face of an unexpected crisis. A hurricane is heading straight for Miami, and her eccentric grandmother, Abu, is refusing to evacuate. Abu is... I don't know if that's supposed to be short for abuela. I don't know. is so one of a kind that she's basically in her own universe, and while she often drives Luciana nuts, they're the only ones who truly understand each other. She, when her grandmother, normally glamorous and full of life, receives a shocking medical diagnosis during the storm, Luciana's world is upended. She then moves into Luciana's bedroom, and this is just the phone calls as she navigates being queer and dating and her grandmother living with her, and through these phone calls with her sister. I think that that is fun. I think that it is going to be interesting, and I think that it will be a fun reflection of family dynamics. I also think I'm going to end up recommending this to Marissa if I enjoyed this. Next up, we have Sapphic History or Historical. So it's a historical novel, or an older novel, I think, is the grounds for historical, not historical like the genre. That's what I was thinking at first. Not historical like the genre, or Sapphic history as in nonfiction. And I picked for nonfiction, and I will be reading Public Faces, Secret Lives, A Queer History of the Women's Suffrage Movement by Wendy L. Roos. This was not on any of my TBRs, but it seemed really, really interesting. This basically takes a look at how queer women were basically left out of the suffragist movement despite being a large part of it, and by left out I mean historically left out. The book is an attempt to recenter the queer figures in that movement, highlighting their contributions as well as their numerous sacrifices, because a lot of the time they had to set aside their queer identities in order to further along the suffrage movement. And I think that will be really an interesting read. Next up, we have Chronic Illness Rep, and y'all, this was so hard to find a book. So a million years ago, I read romance novels only for about a week, and I filmed it. There's a video about it. Don't ask me where it is. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And it was stressful because I don't read romance, and so the smut was very stressful. I no longer feel as squicked out by romance as I used to, so whatever. There was an author called Jay that I really enjoyed, and luckily Jay's books fit 2 of these prompts, and I'm really happy about that because I know that I like this author, so I didn't have to go too far out of my general normal remembered range. We have Just Physical by Jay for Chronic Illness Rep. After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, 25-year-old Jill Corrigan takes herself off the romantic market. Not wanting to become a burden to a potential partner, she focuses on her career as an actress instead. On the set of a disaster movie, she meets stuntwoman Christine Crash Patterson, whose easy smile instantly makes Jill wish things were different. Meanwhile, Crash is trained to fall, but she didn't count on falling in love. Despite their growing feelings for each other, Jill resolves to let Crash into her bed, but not her heart. As they start to play with fire on and off camera, will they really be able to keep things just physical? Probably not. If I remember correctly, Jay was the author that straight up was like, hey, there's about to be certain content, and it's just in this chapter, and if you want to skip it, you can. And I really appreciated that. But I'm pretty sure that this was that author. Next up, we have Damage Control by Jay, to fit the prompt, famous sapphics. An actress practically since birth, Grace Durand has finally made it in Hollywood when a photo of her in a seemingly compromising situation with another woman is plastered all over the tabloids. She fears for her career as lead in romantic movies. Desperate for a publicist who will convince America that she's straight, Grace hires Lauren Pierce, one of Hollywood's leading PR agents, not knowing that she's a lesbian. Lauren has dealt with the PR nightmares for years, so doing damage control for one more rich, spoiled client shouldn't be a problem, or so she thinks. But the more time she spends with Grace, the more she realizes how different she is from her television persona. Getting involved with her client is not in her game plan, especially since it would confirm the rumors and ruin Grace's career, but the attraction between them is growing as they run the gauntlet of the paparazzi together. I don't know, it seems fun. Next up for On Your TBR Too Long, I did get to pick something that was on my TBR and in my big Astro list of books, so hee for me. That is Fruiting Bodies by Katherine Harlan. This is another short story collection. It is a horror collection following mostly queer, mostly women people on the precipice of change. It's listed as horror, but it also talks about fantastical and gothic and uncanny and humor and those kinds of things. So I think it is gonna kind of be a great span of things. I don't know. I'm excited about it though. Next up, we have trans or non-binary main character as the prompt, and I will be rereading and then reading the last book of the First Sister Trilogy by Lyndon A. Lewis. I had to go find the book, but I found it, so we're good. First sister has no name, no voice, and no agency. The sisterhood forced her into the role of comfort woman for soldiers of Earth and Mars who own the rights to her body and soul, but no more. This is her story. Leto Sol Lucius is a soldier from the slums of Venus who has sacrificed everything to escape, only to be forsaken and forgotten by the military he served so dutifully after a major defeat in battle, but no more. This is his story. Hiro Val Akira is a highly trained assassin who has been told their entire life to conform to other people's standards and expectations at the expense of their own happiness. But no more. This is their story. As the battle to control Ceres reaches a head, allegiances are put to the test. First sister Leto and Hiro must decide what and whom they are willing to sacrifice to be heard. These are sci-fi books. If I remember correctly, the first and second book fucked me up. And that's why I never read the third one. Like, emotionally. So, exciting. Next up, we have a book that, as of filming this, is not released, but I am going to buy it when it's released because of who wrote it, and I am who I am. That is going to be For the Prompt Vampires, and I will be reading Lucy Undying by Kiersten White. This is a sort of Dracula, not retelling, but spin-off. It is about a vampire that escapes the thrall of Dracula and embarks on her own search for self-discovery and true love. Lucy Westenra was one of Dracula's first victims, and her death was only the beginning. Her undead life takes an unexpected turn when, in the 21st century London, she meets another woman who is also yearning to break free from her past. Iris's family has built a health empire based on a sinister secret, and they'll do anything to stay in power. Lucy has long believed she would never love again, but she finds herself compelled by the charming Iris, while Iris is mesmerized by the confident and glamorous Lucy. But their intense connection and blossoming love is threatened by forces from without. I don't know what that means. Iris's mother won't let go of her without a fight, and Lucy's past still has fangs. Dracula is on the prowl again. Right? Seems crazy. And last but not least, we have Choose Your Own Prompt, in which I did not choose a prompt. I guess the prompt would be finish a series, and I will be reading The World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. This is the second book in The Cities That We Became, I think is what the first book is called. The cities are basically gods or superheroes, and they fight each other, and it's like a really good speculative fiction set. N.K. Jemisin is an incredible author, and I really enjoy all of her books, so I'm excited to read this. I might have to reread the first one, but this TBR is already so long that I don't know that I will be able to reread the first one. But a lot of the time, by the time I read the second book, whether I remember it or not, I usually, like, certain things trigger my memory, and then I remember, oh yes, this is what happened. I just don't know how long ago it was that I read the first book. So anyway, that's it. That is the TBR for September. Again, I'm really excited to participate in Sapphic September. I'm excited to support my friends in that way, especially since they've been so supportive of me. And I hope that you guys maybe want to, I know by the time this posts, September will already be starting, but if you haven't started it, start late. Join their readathon in preparation for my readathon in November. Also, by the time this comes up, I think that yesterday the schedule for Clear Your Shit was posted, so you have that to look forward to. If you don't know what Clear Your Shit is, I have a million videos about it. It is the readathon that I run, but that is coming up, so look forward to that. And that's it. That's the TBR. It was very long. Thank you for your patience as I got all of that together for you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. If you didn't, I'm sorry, and let me know how I can make it better for you, as long as it is a subjective opinion, or as long as it is an objective opinion, like a thing I can actually do. Anyway, that's it. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, not including the first full week of the month. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.